It's 10 years since I went into remission, and for the last 10 years I've really been guided by Professor Charlie Craddock, and if it wasn't for him I wouldn't be here. And it's been a case of a little bit of payback, you know, and a little bit more than that as well. You know, it's worked closely with Charlie ever since I've met him first day at the QE, 2 days after being diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia. And I've been inspired by him and his team and the work that they've done, but also with his vision of how to help people who were diagnosed with blood cancer who years ago didn't have a hope in hell of surviving this illness. But now, you know, there's new treatments being coming through the system from the science lab far much quicker than it was only 10 years ago. So while we're seeing that progress, I'm committed to help accelerate that program, but also, you know, 10 years, it's a great way of coming back and saying thank you and raising a significant amount of money over the next 2 years for Cure Leukaemia.
What has occurred in this last remarkable decade is we've been able to use our understanding of the basic biology of the disease that Geoff had, chronic myeloid leukemia, to find a single targeted magic bullet therapy that's remarkably successful in about 2/3 of patients. So chronic myeloid leukemia establishes the principle that we can move towards rationally deploying our understanding of basic biomedical science to developing treatments that save the lives of kids, adults, grandparents. But I think the story with chronic myeloid leukemia really inspires us to believe that translating science into clinical practice is the way to go, and that by working closely with basic scientists, but critically by having strong clinical trials teams, we're not only able to transform patients' outcomes with the new drugs that are being developed in these other more difficult to treat diseases, but also advance the science.
The Birmingham business community really needs to understand what's going on just a couple of miles away from the town centre here, and what's going on at the QE is world class, and it needs to get the support from these big companies that are branching out into Birmingham to support it, because that then allows Birmingham to shout louder about the work that Birmingham's doing.
And one of the reasons that Birmingham's been so successful is because it benefits from having a large population that it serves. We serve a tertiary referral program of about 6 million. That's one of the largest regions in Europe, and that allows the clinical teams across the whole of the West Midlands to work together to assess as quickly as possibly new treatments. And because we've got this scale of population, we can get answers as to whether treatments are really exciting and good and should be taken further or should be put on one side and we should look for other new treatments. We can do that much quicker than other biomedical centres that probably have smaller populations. You miss out on the huge opportunities that are in biomedical research if you only have science or you only have patients. And it's by fusing them together that we're really realising the huge biomedical strengths, not only in blood cancer, but in other cancers and a whole range of other diseases that Britain's second city possesses.
And Geoff, what are you trying to achieve over the next 2 years for Cure Leukaemia?
To be honest, raise an awful lot of money. I think we've learnt again that there's different ways of doing that. Events obviously play a big part in that, and we aim to deliver a couple of events that will enable that to happen, where a £50,000 event just sort of is great, but that figure needs to be 10 times that figure. And we hope to deliver a couple of events that do fulfil that.
The time is now for curing blood cancer. We have the drugs being developed, we have the bullets, and with a modest investment of money to pay for research nurses and clinical teams, we can load those bullets so we can fire the magic bullets at the cancers. And we know from experience that large numbers of patients are responding to these new treatments that then go on to become standard of care. So this is the time to invest in clinical trials teams and in the process advance the treatment of blood cancers with the aim of finding effective cures for every patient with every particular blood cancer.
When will you be announcing how this can be achieved?
Well, we aim to announce everything October the 2nd. Very excited. It's hard to keep stum about this. It's, you know, I'm just delighted that I can come back and play a part in Cure Leukaemia's story, because it's got, you know, a long way to go, and I think it's very exciting to watch, you know, something that was there at the start, watch it develop and watch it, you know, mature as it is doing. And coming back at this time is great.
And so October the 2nd is the date everyone should keep in their diary.
October the 2nd, all these big businesses that we talk about, they should come along when we do the announcement and see if they can support, because I'm sure they'll be interested. We're putting on something that I'm sure a lot of people would like to take part in.